Hey everybody, how are you today? How's your day been going? Today's woman of the Bible is Leah. We often lump Leah and Rachel together, and we looked at Leah last night, and today we're going to look at Leah by herself. The first time we hear about Leah is in connection to her brother Laban. So we at least know three of the family, Laban and Rachel and Leah. Laban was tricking Jacob. Jacob wanted to marry Rachel, and Laban was trying to figure out how he could get more work out of him. And we see that Leah helped him out. It was kind of a nasty situation where Leah tricked Jacob. We can say Laban was the one that instigated it, but we never see that Leah said no. Leah never spoke up that we know of. I don't know if she thought that she could prove to Rachel that she could get Jacob's love too if she just had a chance, or if there was a rivalry between the sisters years ago before this. I don't know what the deal was, but Leah obviously went along with the situation. You know, some people may have said, well, she was forced to, but obviously there was very little resistance, or I think the Bible would have said something about it. So we see that she started out being mean to her sister. That's just the basic line. She was not very nice to her sister. She took her husband. And we also see that the Bible talks about all the other women, like Sarah and Rebecca and Rachel. The Bible always talks about how beautiful they were, but not Leah. Leah, it focuses on her eyesight. It says her eyes were delicate. And I don't know what that means, whether she had poor vision or what the deal was, but it focuses on that. And also, back in the Bible times when they gave people names, it was for a reason or a hope that the parents had that the child would grow into. And Leah's name means wild cow. I'm not sure what parent would name their daughter that. So she kind of got the bad end of the deal a couple different ways. She was named a name that meant wild cow, and she also, there was something wrong with her sight. So she really was not a beautiful person, I don't think. And I wonder sometimes if that's not what brought the jealousy on of Rachel, and how she thought that she could prove to Rachel that her character was better than her beauty. And we see later on that Leah did figure that out, but right now she was still using it for her advantage. We see that when she bore sons, she had children. You know, like I said, they named their names names with specific meanings. And the first couple children she had you could tell she was still trying to get Jacob's attention. The first son's name meant, "See, a son." And it was almost like she was saying, look at this. And the second son's name was Heard. Have you heard me? I've got a son, the second son now. The third son was Attached. And some people say that they think that she felt like, okay, she has given him 3 sons now. He should feel attached to her, and it should just be a normal feeling, and he would just love her. And we see that somewhere along the line, between the next son, somehow I think Leah figured out that, you know what? Her beauty is nothing. Character is everything. And it seems like she started naming her sons different. The 4th son meant praise. It was Judah, and it meant praise. The 5th son was, God has given me wages. And the 6th one, God has endowed me with good endowment. And it seems like her attitude changed, and she looked beyond her physical and looked into the spiritual and looked to God more. It's almost like that in her pain of trying to find self-worth and trying so hard to be accepted, that she cried out to God, and she learned to know who God was, and it changed her attitude. It's almost like she became more content. It wasn't a competition anymore. And we see that I think she rose above her lack of personal attraction, and she found God. 2 takeaways I want to do with Leah is that keep focused on God. If we start focusing on ourselves and our competition and the competition, you know, between other women, it's not going to be happy. We're going to constantly be the competition never ends. It never does. But when we look to God and we find our self-worth and we find out how He views us, no matter what our personal appearance is like, it changes our heart, and there's peace and there's joy in there. You know, if we look to people and things, there will always be heartaches. There will always be pain because people will let us down. But God won't, and God's truths and who we are will never let us down. And also, God blesses different people in different ways. Just because He blessed Rachel with the beautiful looks and Jacob's love did not mean that He couldn't bless Leah in a different way. The Bible really doesn't say what Leah's characteristics were, but Leah could have been a very, very good mother. She could have been a very good baker, cook, anything. And we got to realize, instead of comparing ourselves among ourselves, God gave each of us gifts that makes us unique and special. He gave them to us for a specific reason. And we need to remember to not just cast our gifts aside and say, but I want that one. Don't do that to God. God gave you your gifts and your talents for a specific reason. Don't just throw them away like you don't care for them. Show God that you appreciate that and that you realize that you're made unique and God made you perfect. Don't compare. Don't look for comparison in each other. Look at God and what God already gave you, and that's when we'll find peace and contentment, self-worth, and confidence. That's where confidence comes from, is when we realize that God made us special in a perfect way. He made us perfect. God doesn't make mistakes. God makes everybody perfect. Remember that today. You are perfect. You were made for a reason with special gifts. Love y'all.